twins was a complete surprise. When I saw 2 heartbeats on the monitor during that first fetal appointment, I about passed out. On May 29th, we gave birth to 2 beautiful babies. We did not know that there was anything wrong with either baby. We were under the impression that we had a perfectly normal pregnancy. But during the pregnancy, I had multiple ultrasound scans because I was high risk. They scanned both babies' hearts multiple times, all 4 chambers. No time did they see any type of abnormality with Marcus's heart. I was nervous and scared for the C-section, but I felt that something was not right. I kept telling Mark and my mom that I'm very fearful, that I feel like something's gonna be wrong with one of the babies. I said that repeatedly. When I was able to really hold Marcus, he wasn't as lively as Alina. He wouldn't latch to the breast. He just wasn't acting the same. About 3 hours after that, so we're probably at 5 hours now after he was born, his breathing was very rapid. He was just
the rapid breathing and shallow, and he
didn't want to nurse.
He didn't want to nurse, and he wasn't acting like an infant. We've had 3 prior to that, and we had 1 right there to compare him to, and he just wasn't the same.
Yeah, he wasn't eating. There was something definitely wrong. My oldest son had pneumonia as an infant, and Marcus was acting very similar to how Josiah acted with pneumonia. They ran a series of tests on Marcus and found out that he did not have pneumonia, but it was a huge emergency. Marcus had 4 congenital heart defects.
I had walked into the NICU. We weren't aware what was going on, and they had intubated him. And next thing we know, they were arranging for transport to another hospital. And the next time we saw him was when he was in a plexiglass box on a stretcher with life support.
Wires coming off of him, and he wasn't breathing on his own. He was intubated. His eyes were closed. He just didn't look healthy or like a baby, and it was very scary, not knowing what was going to happen or if we were going to see him again, because at that moment, it didn't seem like he was going to pull through, just how sick he was. And that is a term that the doctors use repeatedly, that we had a very sick little boy. Marcus's diagnoses are co-artesian of the aorta, bicuspid valve, a VSD,
and also narrowing of another artery. But they repaired his co-artesian. They cut his aorta and reattached it so it was no longer narrow, so it could pump blood smoothly through to his lower extremities. They also placed PA banding on to slow the shunting through his VSD so he would not flood his lungs with blood.
Fast forward to August 3rd of 2021. He goes down the stairs first. I'm right behind him. And he says, "Jennifer, he's blue." Like, just, "Jennifer, he's blue." It took me a minute to really understand what was going on. And I looked, and Mark's just kind of in shock. And Mark starts taking Marcus out of his car seat. Marcus was blue and limp, just completely lifeless. It's a color of blue that I've never seen before, which was scary. And I was completely useless to the situation because I thought he was gone. Mark, thankfully, a few weeks before that, had learned CPR at work. So Mark took him out of his car seat and started doing CPR on Marcus.
Yeah, I never thought I would ever have to, let alone on my own child. But I pulled him out of his car seat and felt for a pulse, and there was nothing, and there was no breathing or anything. So I immediately started chest compressions, and just the training I had received took over, and I just started chest compressions, started breathing for him. And after what seemed like an eternity, but was only a matter of minutes or seconds, he started a slow, weak cry. And I started rubbing on his chest and just talking to him and encouraging him and giving him a few more breaths until he started crying louder and louder and louder.
But the chest compressions and the CPR Mark did, it was about 3 to 5 minutes. I was on the phone with 911 during that time. That the first faint cry that he let out is a noise that you never forget.
It's the best and the worst noise you ever will hear as a parent.
Congenital heart disease, just like many diseases, it's a family disease. And for the rest of our lives and the children's, it is something that we will all be worried about. Congenital heart disease is a lifetime diagnosis filled with uncertainties. In addition to developmental delays, the band that was removed from Marcus's heart left scar tissue, which may need to be addressed in the future. A stent may need to be put in, and Marcus will need to be followed for a long time. For the rest of his life, he will need to be followed by a cardiologist. And the thing is, I don't know what to expect long term. The doctors are not 100% sure of what to expect long term. As of now, medicine has come a long way from what it was, but there's a lot more research that is necessary, to keep people and children like Marcus with us.